Well, the winds moving across the area today and tomorrow have put some of the 4 states in a wind advisory. Dustin Lunau from the Joplin Fire Department is with us to share the dangers of brush fires during weather like this. Welcome, Dustin.
Welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Okay, so we know right now Chris has been talking about it all morning.
Yes, ma'am.
The wind is really bad, so no fires if you can prevent them outside, right?
Yeah, outside burning would be strictly not recommended right now, and banned in most places for the next couple of days.
Okay, and we were just talking about the humidity and how humidity plays a big role in this.
A very big part of it.
So it's
yeah.
at 22% today.
Yes.
Tell us what that means.
So 22% is the relative humidity, the percentage of moisture in the air. And the lower that number gets, when you get below 40, 35%, it creates environments in which just the lack of moisture in the air leads to explosive growth of grass fire. So we actually have, in our area, we'll have we have 2 grass fire seasons. We have winter, and then we have late summer when everything has dried up and died off. But right now everything's dormant, so there's no moisture in the foliage and there's no moisture in the brush. And when the humidity drops low and it's wind driven, it can lead to explosive fire growth.
Wow. Have you seen anything so far this season?
So far we've had, I believe Neosho and Carthage have had a couple of events. However, right now we haven't seen any large events in our area, in the Joplin area, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have anything today or tomorrow. That's the goal, right?
And what is the protocol? I mean, say all of a sudden there's a field catches fire. I mean, how many fire trucks and men does it take, and like how much water you guys have to pump into that? That's
a great question, and it's really dependent on how thick the foliage is and how large the fields are. Our main priority is, of course, the structures, homes that could be threatened, things like that. We'll highly prioritize that over the grass. We'll work around that and make sure the structures are safe and taken care of before we get into actually working the grass itself.
Okay, say somebody has to do a controlled burn. What are some safety tips that you have for them?
Honestly, when you get down to 22% humidity, there are no safety tips.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Okay.
You cannot control it. It will move. And sadly enough, what we'll have this evening is that the winds will die off typically in the evenings. And they're like, oh, well, it's nice now. We can burn. The sun's gone down.
Oh, bonfire or
yeah,
something
absolutely.
with friends.
And then tomorrow morning, the winds are going to come up again. The humidity is going to drop, and it will pick up those embers that are buried in those fires, and it will spread it across the field, and it'll go off again. That's
an interesting point, because a lot of people are going to be barbecuing. It's Super Bowl weekend.
Absolutely.
So we have to be super.
Yeah, just be very careful with what you're doing. Be cognizant of what you're doing. If maybe you have a barbecue going, that's great. But make sure you're on a non-combustible surface, or have maybe a garden hose or a bucket of water around where you could easily mitigate that.
All right. Well, thank you as always for joining us, and stick around because we've got more news coming up right after this.